Welcome in, motherfuckers. It is Monday night, which means it's Lamb on the line time. Finally, we get past the Monday night doubleheaders. We just got one game to focus on tonight. We'll get to that later in the show. We got the New Orleans Saints and the Kansas City Chiefs. We got Josh Nichols joining later. He wants to talk a little bit of college football, NFL, whatever's on his mind. You know he's got a lot to say. So stay tuned for his ass later. Let's get into these games, though. Let's go back to Thursday night. It was an overtime affair. The Atlanta Falcons pulling out a squeaker over your Tampa Bay Bucks, 36-30. Kirko Cousins went off fucking 500 yards, 4 touchdowns, tied a career high. He gets an overtime touchdown over in OT, and the Falcons starting to come back after I think they started 0-2. People were doubting them. They've won a couple in a row. They're 3-2 now. They've won 2 of their last. 3 of the last 4 actually. They lost to the Chiefs a couple weeks ago, but they beat the Eagles, they beat the Saints, they beat the Bucks. So what do you think? Are you starting to turn your opinion around on the Falcons? And what do you think about your Bucks taking the L?
I'll tell you what I think, Sheets. The Falcons are one of those teams that I have no idea what the hell's going on. If they're really good, if they're good, they're bad or really bad. Because I could see them being all 4. But I also told you what was going to happen when the Bucks lost. I was going to take that future on the Bucks to win the division. Even though it was a close game, I didn't take the future, but I did take 2 exacta parlays. Both of them involve Tampa Bay winning the division. Both of them involve Carolina last in the division. And then I have the Falcons and Saints flip-flopped in both of them for plus 700 and plus 800. So it's profitable either way. So if Tampa Bay can win the division, I figured those are better odds than taking their future. So I'm a believer. They lost this close, but they'll be fine. They'll still win this division. Falcons can have this win.
I don't know. I think I saw a lot I didn't like about the Bucks, especially defensively. I mean, Drake London, they couldn't guard him. 12 catches, 150 yards. Kirk Cousins, 500 yards through the air. I don't know. I mean, Baker Mayfield tried his best, but I don't know if they're the favorites in that division. I think the Falcons look better. I think the Saints are better.
Look, Baker played great, and yeah, that defense has some things they need to fix, no doubt. You can't let Kirk Cousins throw for 500 yards and 4 touchdowns against you. I don't care who you are. I don't disagree with you. I think the Saints can be good and the Falcons can be good, but I think the Buccaneers are just a little bit ahead of them. But who do they have next week?
Look it up.
The Saints.
Wow.
Be great in New Orleans. So they got other home divisional games at the end of the year. I like that. Is that exacta holder?
I don't know, Sheets. I'm still not forgetting that Bucks beatdown by Bo Nix a couple weeks ago.
By Bo Nix?
Yeah, they lost to the Broncos.
Oh, yeah. 26-7. Yeah. Fluke games.
Oh, okay. Well, that was our Thursday night game. We got a great one in that affair. Kirk Herbstreit on the call. Al Michaels. What's your thoughts about Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit?
Al Michaels needs to retire. I've grown to like Kirk Herbstreit. I used to not like him, and now I don't mind him. He's okay. But Al Michaels, I love the guy. I used to love him when we were growing up, but I think it's time. I think it's time to hang it up.
Yeah, he was great on Sunday Night Football, and then he made the switch to Thursday night. There's just something about it. I don't know if it's Amazon's broadcasting presentation, what it is, but it just doesn't hit the same.
I just don't think he has as much enthusiasm as he used to.
Yeah, probably not. He's calling Thursday night games now on fucking Amazon. He probably thinks it's a package company still.
Some people are saying that about Bob Costas. Did you see that?
I love Bob Costas. I know Ryan Solkin hates him. We had some conversations this weekend about him. But.
Really? I didn't know either of those things. But yeah, I heard some people starting to murmur about Bob Costas. I don't mind him, but I don't really watch baseball like that. But I know he's beloved.
I like Bob Costas because he reminds me of like your grandpa telling you a bedtime story about the good old days. And then he's going to give you a butterscotch candy after the game.
Yeah. That's it's a nostalgia factor.
Bob Costas' favorite era of baseball was when everyone had polio.
Oh, well, that's also probably true. How old is Bob Costas?
He's probably 75, 76. Let me pull it up. I'll look up Al Michaels too.
Al Michaels looks damn near 80. I'll look up Al Michaels. You look up what's his nuts.
Bob Costas is 72.
Al Michaels is 79.
Wow. Yeah, Al Michaels is old.
He's looking old too. I don't know. Put Greg Olson back, and I like him. Put him in prime time somewhere.
You know, I admit when I'm wrong, and I admit when my opinions change on things. I used to hate what's his name? The one announcer who did the White Sox games, but he switched. He did a game of Greg Olson yesterday, and he did a damn good job. What's the guy's name? He's got like cerebral palsy. The one announcer.
I have no idea who you're talking.
I'm not even joking. Let me look it up.
I believe you. What about him? You like him a lot, or you like Greg?
Okay. Jason Benetti yesterday did a game with Greg Olson, and I hate Benetti. He called the White Sox games for years, so I grown to despise him. But he actually had a damn good broadcast with Greg Olson yesterday. They were joking back and forth, and it was really good. I'm telling you, this Tom Brady thing is not. It's boring. He can't be the number one guy. He doesn't have what it takes. In my opinion, football-wise, he's not as good as Peyton Manning. And announcer-wise, he's not as good as Greg Olson. He can't
back up.
Greg Olson.
Sheets. Let's rewind what you just said there. You think Peyton Manning is better than Tom Brady? You don't think Tom Brady's the GOAT?
Peyton Manning was a better quarterback. He played the position much better.
I would say otherwise.
Well, you have your right to believe that.
I have noticed you've called him GOAT a couple times this year in the podcast. So that's you really the whole time you've been believing that you think Peyton Manning's a better quarterback than Tom Brady.
He played the position much better. 2 Super Bowls for 2 different franchises. I mean, it's hard not to go against that. And he has a winning record against Tom Brady in the playoffs. Look it up.
Either way, I haven't watched a Tom Brady game yet. I've only seen clips of him announcing, and I'm kind of afraid to watch because people say it's terrible.
It's boring. You can say what you want about Tony Romo. Tony Romo has a personality. He's funny. He's smart. You remember he was predicting all those plays? Like, you can say he's a little annoying at times, but he has got a personality. Greg Olson, yeah, he's a little – sometimes he comes at you a little bit, but he's got a personality. Tom Brady's got the personality of a wet sock.
Give Greg Olson a shot, damn it.
We need to bring him back. Let's go into the Sunday games. I'll get it out of the way. My Colts took the L to the Jaguars. I don't think we've beaten we haven't beaten Jacksonville on the road in like 10 seasons. So that streak continues. We have 2 terrible streaks. We haven't beat Jacksonville on the road in 10 seasons, and we've lost like 12 or 13 like opening day games to start the year. Or we haven't won. We forgot that we had a tie in there, but we haven't won an opening day game in like 13 years. We have 2 terrible streaks going. It continued again. It was Trevor Lawrence's birthday yesterday. I heard that before the game. I'm like, oh, great. We're screwed. And he balled out. T-Law and those guys, they were kind of due for a win too. 0-4 to start this season. I didn't like my chances. I actually bet against us. I ended up in a push, but I took the Jaguars -3. And honestly, they should have covered that, but we kind of weaseled our way back into that yesterday. The defense reverted back to the first couple weeks, where we just couldn't stop a cold. Trevor Lawrence had 300 yards. Tank Bigsby had 100 yards on the ground. Brian Thomas torched us. The defense was not there. And I know we put up points, but without Jonathan Taylor and honestly without Anthony Richardson, the offense was a little less dynamic. Flacco put up big numbers. He had 360 yards and 3 touchdowns. He had a great game, but there just wasn't – there was something about the offense in general. It wasn't totally there. I know we put up a lot of points and it was close, but we got to go back to AR. We got to get him back.
I'm glad you said that because I was about to ask you a question and you just answered it for me. And I think your best shot at winning the most games this year is Joe Flacco.
It could be. I don't know. My brain's in a pretzel.
What do you want? Like, what do you want more? Because obviously, it's not the Colts year to win the Super Bowl. I'll just say that. I think you know that. I think I know that. So, do you want to use this as an opportunity to put Anthony Richardson in and get him some more season under his belt, or do you try and make the best of the season and give it a try with Joe Flacco because he looks damn good right now?
Here's the situation: the Colts are fucked either way. This franchise has been ran into the ground by our pill popping owner. fucking passed out drunk in the middle of downtown Indianapolis. He's the owner of the team. And then you bring in Chris Ballard, who got off to a promising start, but he hasn't done shit for It's like year 8 with him. Anthony Richardson doesn't look good. He is, by all quarterback metrics, he's not good efficiency-wise. We'll see. He's still raw. He's still young. I could be a little cynical right now, but he doesn't look good. And Joe Flacco is 40 damn years old almost. He's the same age as our head coach. He might play a couple of games. He might play a good couple of games, but he fucking lost to Jacksonville yesterday on the road, and he got Cleveland to the playoffs last year. But do you remember that playoff game? He looked terrible. He threw like 3 or 4 picks. Only one team contacted him in free agency this year. It was us. It was us. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
You guys love the old white quarterbacks. We go Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers, now Joe Flacco.
It's been our MO. Matt Hasselbeck was a Colt for a while.
I hear you. That playoff game was not great for Joe last year. But that first part of your sentence, you said he carried him to the playoffs. So what are you trying to do as a Colts fan here? You want to be in the playoffs. I'm still a believer in Anthony Richardson. I think down the road he's going to be a good quarterback. But if I'm a Colts fan, I want Joey Flacco out there.
I would play the kid. Joe Flacco was old as dirt. And yeah, he had 3 touchdowns yesterday, but he can't move at all.
He ran 17 miles an hour yesterday.
He did bust a big run. You're right. He played well. I'm not saying he played bad. I'm just saying I don't think it's the right move to keep playing his ass. So he couldn't beat the Jaguars yesterday. If he would have got the win, I would have said something else. So far, he's 1-1 with the win against the Steelers, who didn't look good last night, and he lost to the Jaguars yesterday. He's 1-1 with the win over the Steelers, who looked like shit, and then he lost to Jacksonville, who was 0-4.
Hey, but Sheets, let me tell you something. You put up 27 points that game against the Steelers, and you put up 34 this game. I don't think the quarterback's your issue right now. I'm just saying
the defense.
Anthony Richardson never put those kind of numbers up.
That's why I started with the defense. I said that the defense gave up 37, couldn't stop a cold. But then I alluded to the fact I just don't think we're as dynamic. He passed the ball very well, but I like my traditional quarterbacks who throw the ball, but even like Jared Goff or Matthew Stafford have a little bit more dynamic to them. Joe Flacco was old. He looked like a grandpa yesterday.
Let me ask you this.
He can't move.
Are there 3 teams in the NFL that if you guys played tomorrow, you're like, yep, we're beating them, no question?
3 teams?
Yeah.
Well, the NFL is a week-to-week league. I would probably say we could beat the Panthers.
For sure, beating the Panthers.
Andy Dalton or not, we would beat them. I would like to think right now we could beat Cleveland.
I do too. I think you'd win that game. I don't know if that's a for sure. I'll give you that.
But there might not be many others. I mean, I would like to say, going into the year, I'd like to say we're better than the Cardinals. I don't know about that right now. I don't know if we're better than the G-men. The Giants are 2-3. They're starting to look good. I think we suck.
I think you would have no problem beating the Titans.
I think we're going to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be – I don't know, dude. The AFC is so weird right now. But actually, the whole standings are weird, but it's too early to tell. You can't say that yet. I think you guys can still make the playoffs. It's
still early, but I don't know yet. We'll have to play it out. That's enough Colts talk. Let's move on with the noon games. I was gonna say we could go to the Packers, but they played at 3:00, so we'll get to that after. We'll do the noon slate first. Actually, forget we gotta go early morning to the London game first. We got our first London game of the year. I forgot about that. Minnesota stays undefeated with the win over Old Man Rodgers, 23-17, 5-0. Sheets. I told you last week. I said they might be the best team in the NFL. It wasn't quite their best game, but I think I still stand by what I say. I think they're the best team in the NFL.
I'm still standing by. There's going to be a point in time where you're going to want to start fading them, and you just got to be there that week. You're going to be – I can tell you and Stolken, you guys are going to be a couple weeks late losing your money bet on the Vikings, but you got to get the timing right. I think – let's see. Who do they have next week?
We tried to do it yesterday.
I know. Tried to do it last week, but it's coming sooner than you think. The Lions. They play the Lions next week. They're losing 5-1. But anyways, yeah, London game. which I'm grown to like. I like waking up and having football on. But you want to talk about someone who's looking old. Rodgers looks old. He can still throw the accurate passes, but he does not look as good as I thought he was going to coming into this season.
No. People had him like a top 5 quarterback in the NFL this year. He's the same thing with Flacco. He looks old. He looks like an old man out there.
I don't know.
Some bad sacks. He did some brutal sacks. He fucking busted his ankle up there at the end. He had his low ankle sprain, I'm pretty sure. Something like that. I mean, he's old.
And listen, they asked him to do a lot.
He's got 2 starting. He's got 2 Cyclones starting for him too. Cut him some slack.
Yeah, Cyclone got flagged last week doing the finger guns. I don't know if that was bullshit. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah. But they're not playing Jets football at all. Rodgers should not be throwing 54 passes in one game.
No.
That is way too many. They should not be relying on that. They couldn't get anything going in the run game, so I understand, but they got to start playing to their strengths, and that's playing good defense and running the ball, and use Rodgers when you have to because he's there. But the Rodgers is not in any position right now for them to just rely on him to win them games.
I mean, they couldn't run the ball right away. Aaron Rodgers was fucking tossing out fucking interceptions like it was Halloween candy. Andrew Van Ginkel fucking ran one back. It's never good when you're getting picked off and Andrew Van Ginkel takes it to the house. It's not good. Not a good sign. They got down 17-0 right away. They fought their way back, but that start was just too horrendous.
Do you think a lot of people are putting futures out there on the Vikings
to win it all?
Yeah,
probably. I mean, their stock has never been higher.
Now I'm starting to switch my thinking. Maybe the NFL's doing that. Maybe they want them to, get 9-0, 10-0, get all the future money on them for them to just piss it away in the playoffs.
I was big on the Jets. Finished up yesterday betting, but I started down because I went all in on the Jets. I thought that was their game to win, and I thought they were going to do it at the end, but they fell just short. I will see. That Lions game next week kind of makes me think they win that shit too. I don't know.
I'm going to need a week to think about that.
Right. Let's move on now to the noon slate. We can just get this one out of the way quick, unless you want to talk more about it, but the Bears beat down the Panthers 36-10. Caleb Williams, DJ Moore went off. Are the Bears good? They're 3-2. I don't think they're good. What's your take on them?
I don't think they're good either. They're decent. They're not like really bad, but they're not good. Who did they beat this year? They beat the Titans, the Rams, who are now 1-4, and the Panthers. Yeah, no, I don't think they're good. They play in another shit game next week against the Jags in London, of course. But it'll be a close game. Won't be that fun to watch. But DJ Moore going off against his old team. Good for them. So there's not much to talk about here. There's another rookie quarterback I'd rather talk about.
Okay, we can get to that. I do want to say early pick. Keep your radar on. I'm all over the Jacksonville Jaguars next week in that London game. +2 is what you can get them at right now. I think they win that game. They look better. They looked much better yesterday. The Bears, I don't think, are good. I think the Jaguars just got off to a rotten start. They found some dumb ways to lose. I think they will turn it around a little bit. And I think they will win that game. They're going to beat the Bears. They'll beat the Bears next week.
Two teams that have locker rooms that are not in the best spots right now. It's going to be chippy.
They will win that game. Jacksonville will. And the Panthers, they're back to being shit. Dalton had one good game. Yesterday, he had 130 yards and a pick. No touchdowns.
Panthers are done.
So, Panthers are done. They'll probably be picking first. They can go draft another bust at quarterback.
Shador.
You already talked about it. I'm guessing you want to talk about Buffalo and Houston, rookie quarterback?
Who's a rookie in that game?
Oh, no, you're right. Which quarterback do you want to talk about?
We can talk about that game. I was I was looking at maybe someone who's having a CJ Stroud-esque year and probably gonna be really good, and I'm really high on all of a sudden, is Jaden Daniels. That dude is off to a insane start. Like, he's got 2 picks, I get that, but let me read you off his stats so far. 77% completion rating. 227 yards a game, 4 touchdowns and interception. Okay, not anything crazy, but you forget the man runs. He's got 300 yards on the ground and 4 rushing touchdowns this year.
I know.
He's legit. I've been down on the Commanders, but I'm up on them. I think he's going to lead them to the playoffs.
I've been high.
You have.
I took the Commanders before the season to win their regular season over total, which was like 7.5, 6.5 maybe. I pounded that. I drafted him in our dynasty league, and I started him as my starting quarterback week 1. He stepped in, beat out Trevor Lawrence. He beat out Matt Stafford, and not that it took much, but he also beat out Deshaun Watson. So I've been starting Buddy since week 1. He's my guy, and they are legit. I know the Browns aren't the best team right now, but he picked them apart. A lot of Browns fans were like, this is the week we get back in it. We'll be fine. He ended their season. He ended the Browns season yesterday. I think there is no hope for that team. I think the fans have given up, and I think it's too far gone. So shout out Jaden Daniels. He's winning games. These motherfuckers are 4-1. Don't look now. The Commanders are 4-1. Wins, or they picked apart the Browns. They picked apart the Cardinals. Beat the Bengals on the road, and they beat my G-men, who are looking pretty good right now. The only loss was week 1 to the Bucs.
Yeah, they've averaged 38 points a game the last 3 games, and we've got the vet versus the rookie next week. Great game. They go to Baltimore. Lamar versus Jaden Daniels.
That'll be a good one. Baltimore's favored by 6.5. So while you can get points on Washington, you can get some fucking points on them next week if you want.
I know I just went off about how many points they're scoring, but the over-under is 52.5, and I'm screams the under, I think. I think everyone's going to be on the over.
Probably will. Let me see if I can check the splits on that.
Well, we can go back to that game you originally brought up, Bills-Texans, because that one was nuts. Josh Allen looked like shit. We should have had our boy Beck on for like 3 minutes just to explain what the hell the Bills are doing. Granted, they only lost by 3. Josh Allen looked like shit. They lost by 3 to a great team. So you can spin zone that. But yeah, I think the Texans are legit too. I think they're a Super Bowl contender. I said they weren't earlier this year. I'm changing on that. I think they're a contender.
I think they're a pretender. But
what do you think about Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen's relationship?
I don't know. It seems like they're never going to speak to each other again.
Yeah, they look like they hate each other, which
yeah,
they are kind of clashing personalities, but I don't know. Buffalo needs to figure their shit out. I still think they're a good team. They've got the Jets. That's a big game. Jets are going to be looking for revenge after London and playing at home Monday night.
I want to talk to Bills Mafia. I got some questions because my ass hat of the week is Sean McDermott. At the end of that game, they're at their own 3-yard line. There's not much they can do, but he throws the ball with 30 seconds left. It's a tie game. He throws the ball 3 times out of his end zone, gives the ball right back to the fucking Texans. The Texans did have 3 timeouts, but he could have fucking forced them to use all their timeouts. He could have, and then on that 3rd down play, he could have fucking took some time off. Or on the punt, the punt would have taken some time off. He throws the ball 3 times out of his own end zone. And when Josh Allen is playing his worst game of his career, and then he gives the fucking Texans the ball back with their timeouts, and then they kick a 60-yard field goal to win the game. It should have went to OT. If he runs the ball 3 times, he used up all the timeouts. You punt the ball. Maybe you gain a 1st down even. But he's thrown the ball out of his own end zone, which is tough to do. And then he got Josh Allen, who looked like a fucking high school quarterback. I mean, every week you'll have, or every once in a while you have some bad games. Josh Allen was 9 for 30. He couldn't complete 10 passes. and he's thrown the ball out of his own end zone. They lose the game. Sean McDermott mismanages so many games in the regular season and the playoffs. Is he the right guy? They might have to think about firing his ass.
No, he's not the right guy. I don't know. I think Daboll should go back. I think he'd be a great fit in Buffalo. But yeah, I don't know. That was an idiotic game. I contemplated giving the game ball to Jaime Fairbairn because that motherfucker's hit 8 field goals over 50 yards already this season and just nailed that one with ease to win the game. But I'm going to save it for another guy.
All right. So, but he's your honorable mention?
Yeah, he gets honorable. Him and Riley Moss get honorable mentions.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Riley Moss, your boy, right?
I don't know about I like Riley Moss, yes. Yeah, you got a pick. First white corner to get a pick in like 22 years.
Yeah, since like damn near the start of the millennium. Shout out Jason Sehorn, last corner to get a pick. White boy.
Is that a South Carolina player? Did he go to South Carolina?
Jason Sehorn? I don't know. I would have said Florida State.
I'm thinking of J.C. Horn. Never mind.
J.C. Horn, I think, went to South Carolina. Moving on. This is probably the game of the noon slate. The Texans game, Bills game was also good, but this is probably the game of that noon slate. OT dub for the Ravens, 41-38. Justin Tucker, people were shitting on him, including me. He put one through when they mattered most. Derrick Henry had a giant ass run. I mean, they're loving the acquisition of Derrick Henry. Fucking, don't even get me started about Jerry Jones. The motherfucker messed up big time. One of the best moves in the while I've seen is Derrick Henry going to the Ravens. And Joe Burrow, man, he played a damn near perfect game. I mean, damn near, but he had one brutal pick. He had 5 touchdowns and almost 400 yards, but he had one brutal pick, and that cost him. Otherwise, he was right there, and the Bengals kind of melted that one away too. They had at two different times in the game, in that game in the fourth quarter, they were up by 10 points. 2 different times they're up 10 points in the fourth quarter. Pissed it away. They're 1-4. I'm not counting them out yet, but they got to start racking together some wins. You know, they could maybe reverse their fortune next week against New York. They got Cleveland in 2 weeks, but we'll see the Eagles in 3 weeks who aren't playing well. So they could maybe stack together some wins, but they got to start doing it now. They lose to the Commanders. They lose by 1 point to the Chiefs. They lose to the fucking Patriots to start the season, for Christ's sakes. Now they're 1-4, sitting at 4th place in the AFC North.
Hey, they're the best 1-4 team we've ever seen in the NFL, ever. I think they're fine. I think they're going to be fine. They, like you just said, they play the Giants and the Browns the next 2 weeks. That puts them at 3-4. Then they have the Eagles and Raiders. They're going to be just fine, Sheets. I think they're really good. They've lost to the Chiefs, who are arguably the best team in the NFL right now. They lost to the Commanders, who are now 4-1 in a close game. And then they took the Ravens to the OT. I think the Ravens are really good. I'm going to have to check their Super Bowl odds because I still think they're going to be fine. But the Ravens are back, by the way. They're going to win. They're going to probably be the one seed in the AFC.
The first 4 weeks of the NFL, people love to flip out and freak out and go nuts. Those are preseason games, people. Half these motherfuckers, if not more, about 75% of these motherfuckers don't play hardly any snaps in the preseason. They just roll in there for training camp, and there's less preseason games now. These first 4 weeks are damn near preseason. People were fucking losing their marbles because Baltimore started 0-2. Yeah, they had a bad loss to the Raiders. They're back, like you said. They beat the Cowboys. They beat the shit out of the Bills. And then they win a game they probably shouldn't have. They found a way to win, which is what good teams do. They found a way to win yesterday when they probably shouldn't have. 41-38 OT. I mean, if anyone's going to unseat the Chiefs this year, I think this is the Ravens' year. I think that Derrick Henry move will pay off wonders when it's all said and done.
Cincinnati Bengals plus 3,400 to win the Super Bowl. I kind of like that. I just needed to get there or get to the AFC Championship, and you can probably cash out on that. I don't know. I like those odds. Your best team in the NFL right now, according to you, is the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh best odds.
They're playing the best right now, from what I've seen. Look at the best team.
Try and guess the Colts.
32 teams in the NFL.
No. The odds.
Oh, there are odds. I thought you had like the whole ranking. The Bengals were 3,400.
Yeah.
We're 2,900.
You're plus 9,000.
We're worse than the Bengals.
The Colts
Yeah,
to win the Super. Yes, to win the Super Bowl.
we have 2 wins. They have 1 win.
Sheets. You've watched every Colts game this year. You
But
cannot
to
guess.
get, I'm saying to get to the playoffs or to get to the Super Bowl, you got to get to the playoffs, and they're 1-4, motherfucker. That's hard to get there.
Well, don't argue with me. Argue with FanDuel and DraftKings because that's plus 9,000. You
That's
should go ahead and put $10 on that.
I'm good. I think. But no, the Ravens are back. The Bengals, we'll see. You're a little bit more optimistic about them. I think they're fucking
I
putting
am.
themselves in a big damn hole.
One more thing. Joe needs to change his hair. You can't be 1-4 showing up to the stadium with frosted tips. Gotta go back. Shave it off. Go bald.
Whoa.
Try something new.
I don't know. He thinks he's onto something with this new look. He didn't. I don't think he gave the long hair a chance. He had that flow going for a little bit. He got rid of that pretty quick.
Yeah,
for this, I don't understand it. Moving on, the Dolphins get back in the win category, 15 over the 10. This game was not good. I was watching a lot of this game. It was horrible. The Dolphins made a ton of mistakes, and somehow the Patriots made more. Tyler Huntley did not look good. I know they just picked his ass off the fucking curb, but he was a Pro Bowl quarterback for the Ravens. He's not looking like it. Jacoby Brissett, when are they gonna put Drake May out there? Yeah, I told you after week 1. I said Jacoby Brissett always does this. He wins one game, people think he's something, and then he's not. They've lost 4 in a row since that first game. He was 18 for 34, 160 yards. I know he doesn't have a lot of help. His best target is Demario Douglas out of Liberty. But still, it's time to go to Drake May and see what he's got.
Okay, first of all, hand up because I went off on loving Tyron Huntley and think he's going to be just fine, make the Dolphins good. I forgot that he was previously in a Ravens offense that is built for quarterbacks like himself. And Mike McDaniels did not know what to do with him that first game. And then he looks bad this game. So hand up. I was wrong about Huntley. He's not as good as I thought. Secondly, the Patriots, I get like sit behind somebody for a couple years, learn from it, and then come out. We obviously being a Packers fan, Rodgers did that, Jordan Love did that. Drake May is learning from Jacoby Brissett. When you sit a quarterback because you don't want to get him reps, it's usually because he's learning from someone who's actually a really good quarterback, not Jacoby Brissett. Play the goddamn guy. Play Drake May, get him a season under his belt. Love had Rodgers. Rodgers had Brett Favre. He's got Jacoby Brissett. What's he going to learn? He might as well get the time, get some reps.
He can learn how to weasel his way until people thinking he's a starting quarterback.
He can learn how to be a backup quarterback if that's what he wants to be, learning after Jacoby Brissett. Like, what is the Patriots are – I'm fine with it, though, because they had all their glory when we were growing up. They can be a shit bag team for the next 30 years.
That's true. We're getting a little long-winded on some of these games. Let's move on to your Packers. What do you got to say about your Packers? Getting a win yesterday in a game I thought they were going to lose.
Yeah, big dub. Our buddy Jack ducked us. Said he's busy. The guy does have a kid, so I'll cut him a little slack. But we beat their ass. It didn't look pretty. I still have a bunch of confidence in Jordan Love. Beside the fact of that one interception he had, I don't know if you saw it, but he threw it off his back foot, trying not to take a safety. It was a pick six, actually. Dumbass throw. But I'm fine with where we're at. Josh Jacobs actually looked like Josh Jacobs, so that's good. That's encouraging. We're 3-2, and we play the Cardinals next week, which are kind of dangerous, but we've got them at home. So I like our chances there. 2 home games in a row. So we're in a good spot. Are the Rams toast? Are they done?
Yeah, they might be. They might be. 1-4, man, that's tough. You lose to the Bears. You lose a home game to the Pack. Game I thought they should have won.
Can we
Then they
write them
got
off?
can't yet. Can't yet. But they're
They've
there.
got the Raiders next week. If they lose to the Raiders at home, we're writing them off. I need you to make me that promise.
Okay. We could probably agree to that.
All right.
Moving on, Bo Nix has picked up his 3rd win in a row, and I think he's the real deal. That's my takeaway.
I don't. He's a clown. And they got a clown show going on there that he's yelling at receivers. The coaches don't know what to tell him. He doesn't know what to tell the coaches. The Broncos, we tried to get Connor Schultz on tonight too, and they just have a really good defense, but Bo Nix is not – they're not going to be anything with Bo Nix at quarterback.
I think Bo Nix he's smooth. He's calculated. He's got good fundamentals. He can scramble. He's got great accuracy. I think he is a high-level quarterback.
Would you rather have him or Anthony Richardson?
Right now, I would probably take Bo Nix.
Well, okay, let's say AR-15's not injured.
Bo Nix.
All right. I'm not high on them. I don't think they're 3-2 now, but they remind me of the Steelers over the past couple of years, who's play good defense and hang in there in games.
Kind of. Moving on, the Cardinals pick up an upset, probably the upset of the day, over the Niners, 24-23. There was two big upsets in this window, the 3 o'clock hour. Arizona over San Fran, and my G-men, who I picked them. I had their money line yesterday. I said, fuck the spread, fuck plus 7.5. I want their money line. They're going to win that shit. And they did. They knocked off the Seahawks. Both were 7-point dogs. Cardinals are actually 7.5-point dogs. My first question is, what's going on with San Francisco? People were saying they're going to jog their way to the Super Bowl from the NFC this year. Now they're 2-3. What the hell's happening there?
Nothing. They're fine. They just lost the game. They're 2-3. It's quarter one. Kyle Shanahan does this. He always starts off the season slow and then comes on well at the end. They're fine. It's a divisional game, and the Cardinals are frisky. They caught the Cardinals in a frisky game. They should have played better, and they should have won. But they kind of have a tough stretch. They play Seattle next week in Seattle, and then they have the Chiefs, and the Cowboys, and the Bucks. So they're just going to be a battle-tested team. They're just going to be ready for the playoffs, and they do have a walk into the NFC Championship.
Wow, that's a bold statement. That's not what I'm seeing from this team right now. This team doesn't look almost playoff caliber right now. I mean, this win, that win over the Jets, that big beatdown win, is not looking so good right now. Then they lose to the Rams, who we're writing off almost already. The Vikings was a close loss, and then they beat the Patriots. That's their second one. And then they lose a game yesterday at home against Arizona. I'm not so sure. I'm not impressed with them.
We'll revisit this in week 15 because I got a feeling they're going to be sitting there at 10-5, 11-4, and be in a totally different spot. Because, like I said, this is what Shanahan does. San Francisco -3 against Seattle at home next week. I'm hammering San Francisco after a loss.
We'll see. You know who I am impressed with is my New York G-men. I told you this team might be something. 29-20 upset win when nobody was betting on them. And Daniel Jones looked good. And now Sunday night next week might be one of the best Sunday nights of the whole season. New York Giants, Cincinnati Bengals.
That's blasphemy. I actually thought of you before this game, and I'm pissed I didn't act on my thought because as they transitioned into this game, they said, "And now Seattle and the Giants, and this should be an easy one for Seattle." And I thought to myself, I should immediately bet on the Giants, money line them, and have them covered. That was so plain as day.
Yeah.
The way he said it, and I'm like, Meisner is onto something, but I just never placed the bet. I should have placed the fucking bet. I was scared.
I was smelling that one a couple days ago. I was smelling that about Wednesday. I'm like, this looks really good to me. New York over the Seattle, and I'm glad to pull the trigger on it. Daniel Jones is a stud.
No, you are. This is what we do as fans. You're overreacting to the Giants winning in Seattle. The Giants. Daniel Jones is not a stud. The Giants still are the Giants. We wrote them off.
I would like to retract that.
No. Once we're a podcast of integrity. We can't. Once we write someone off, we can't write them back.
I would like the record to show that I would like to strike that though I would like to strike that from the record. Actually,
no, I've got evidence. We'll check the tapes. You already wrote them off.
I'm gonna go back and edit some of those episodes. Let's move on to the Sunday night game quick before Nichols gets on. We had a doozy last night. Took a little bit to get there. Game was delayed to weather, but it was Dak Prescott in the final seconds. Sheets. I love when my Cowboys win, but I wanted them to lose last night. I was so close to one of the better bets I've ever had. Every primetime game, I love to bet a correct score bet. Every Monday night, Sunday night, and Thursday night game, I bet on the correct score. I had $1 to win 160. That the Steelers would win 17-13.
Oh no, Sheets.
And I lose it on 4th and goal.
That sucks. I actually feel bad for you. Wow, your own team went against you.
After they fumbled it on the goal line, I was like, this is in the bag. They're not going to score. And then he threw a ball off of Jalen Tolbert's balls. And I'm like, they're not going to score. They fucked up these last 2 plays. They fumbled the ball in a handoff. Then he whips Jalen Tolbert right in the fucking dick. Incomplete pass. I'm like, this is it. I've been doing this for 2 years in a row. Every primetime game and every playoff game, I bet on the correct score. And I haven't hit one yet. And I'm due. I finally thought I was gonna get the monkey out of my bag.
Damn, that actually pisses me off for you. I didn't know you did that. That's a fun little thing to do on the primetime games.
I had 17-13 and I had 17-14. And I was like, shit. It was before that it was 13-6 and what was the score before that? So it was 10-6. It was 10-6 and I said, all right, this is it. The Cowboys are gonna get to head 13-10. And then the Steelers are going to score to make it 17-13, and that's going to be the final score. No more scoring after that. And the Cowboys scored and went up 13-10. Pittsburgh answered. They're up 17-13. I'm like, this is it. And then they get down to the red zone. I'm like, shit, I'm not feeling so good. But then they fumbled that fucking ball, man. I'm like, oh, man, they're not going to score now.
Next time that situation happens, you need to take a video of yourself on Snapchat and send it to me as you watch. I need to be seeing that.
I couldn't believe it was happening. It was like a dream come true. I was like, this is it. It's finally 2 years. 2 year streak ends.
Damn, that sucks. I got to give it to your Cowboys though. I don't care what team you are. If you're going into Pittsburgh and leaving with a dub, that's a gritty win. So
it is
good for the Cowboys. But that sucks that you lost that bad.
We're still waiting for Nichols to join. You sent him the link, right?
Yeah, I did.
Did you say 6:15 or should we?
I'll call him. I said 6:15. He knows. I had to call Coach Steggy to see if he could come on. Are you getting on?
Yeah, literally give me 2 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I had to call. So I called Nichols. Said, "What are you doing?" He played in the golf tournament today in Iowa City. He plays tomorrow. And Steggy's on his way to Iowa City to take him to dinner, the team. So he was like, I don't know if I can come on. Staggy said we're eating dinner at 6:30. He's probably not in a great mood, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, let me call Staggy. So I did. Had a nice little conversation with him. I haven't talked to him in a while. And had to ask if Nichols can come on the podcast from 6:15 to 6:30. He's like, yeah, I don't give a shit if he goes on the podcast. I'm like, all right, cool. And then I texted him Nichols doesn't know this, but I texted him his room number. I hope he comes in bitching at Nichols.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good move. That would be funny if we get a surprise Staggy appearance.
I told him to come on and talk about your Browns, and he said he hasn't watched a single second of a Browns game this year.
Oh, that's what you were saying earlier, a couple weeks ago or last week maybe. I'm not buying that.
Yeah, I'm not either. He's got a brown sweatshirt. I know exactly. It's brown. It's got orange on the sleeves. I know exactly. He sat at least one Sunday down and watched the game.
Yeah. Let's give a shout out to our teams on bye. The LA Chargers on bye. Philadelphia Eagles on bye. Detroit Lions on bye, and the Tennessee Titans all on bye this week. Did not play.
Hey, we got Stolken Stats presented by Stolken Candles.
That's right.
Our boy Jaden Daniels. They gave every team a percentage of each offensive possession to get in the red zone. Washington gets in the red zone on 58% of those possessions. Best in the NFL. No one else is above 50. What else did he send us this week? Whoa, he sent us a bunch of stats today. The Commanders are now averaging a league best 3.37 points per drive. The only team with more than 5 games played in the 2000s were the 2000 Rams and the 2013 Broncos. Was that Peyton Manning's year or was Peyton Manning 2015?
It would have been around that era. Might have been his first year over there.
Did he just send us Washington's? Yeah, I think he just sent us. Well, let's go to the lowest team. Who do you think the lowest is percentage of possessions in the red zone?
Carolina.
Nope. Mr. Steggy, Coach Steggy, the Cleveland Browns, 15%. 15. And then the second worst, the Miami Dolphins. They have Devon A.J. and Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. They have all the weapons. I know Tua's hurt, but they cannot be the second worst offense in the league.
No. That tells me that I don't know. I was always a little skeptical on Mike McDaniels. I think the whole West Coast stoner shtick is starting to get old. It's starting to get old, I think.
He looked confused the whole night.
We got our guest of honor on.
Are we in the hotel lobby?
No, I'm in the room actually. Okay.
What headphones are those? Are those your golfing headphones?
No, they're just so I could be on the stream,
For those who have never met Nichols, this is both of our old teammates at Wartburg. He's on the golf and tennis team there. And what's funny? Oh, sorry. Chiefs fan, but you wanted to come on and talk some college football.
Yeah, I didn't feel like it would be necessarily the most advantageous to the rep of the podcast if I was on here talking NFL. I didn't really watch much this weekend. Will watch tonight, but I just wanted to look out for you guys and keep your guys' credibility at an all-time high.
What were your hot takes about college football?
I'm not as high on the Cyclones as the national media might be. They got an upset win in Kinnick. I respect that. That's what you kind of need. You're going to have to pull off an upset if you want to make this little Cinderella run per se. But, I do think that them not having to play anybody is going to help Iowa out in the long run. Ohio State's far and away the best team in the country, even with the liability at quarterback. They're an NFL team. They would beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. They would beat I wouldn't say a lot of NFL teams, but they would beat the Jaguars, maybe the Browns too. So Iowa going 10-2 and making an appearance in the Big Ten championship game does sneak them in at the 11.
I don't even know where to start with all that. First of all, I don't know that the national media is really giving Iowa State. I think the people like the idea of this Cinderella, but everyone's a Cinderella if you're not Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State.
I agree with that.
Ohio State is far from the best team. Not far from, but you said they're number one, way ahead of everyone else. Texas would beat the shit out of Ohio State right now.
Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. I don't know. If Will Howard plays just serviceable football, they're really good, dude. They're really good. All
So
facets of the game.
This is interesting. Nichols is an optimistic Hawkeye. We have another Hawkeye on my co-host here. What's your thoughts on? I've got a feeling you're not as optimistic on the Hawkeyes season.
No, I'm not. I don't know if we have enough time to get into that, but there's a lot to unpack there.
I mean, see, one of my flaws is I'm really loyal to my quarterbacks. So I hate to say this because I want to be as loyal to Cade as I can. And I don't think he played that bad of a game. The pick got tipped. Strip sacks, yeah, he's got to hold on to the ball, but Jennings Dunker was exposed. And our whole O-line was exposed. So is it on him to hold on to the ball? Yes, but he didn't have an opportunity. I didn't think he threw the ball poorly. Missed the one to Weechin, but Weechin's also got to make that catch early in the game. I am leaning towards it being Sully time, though, in Iowa City. Just a mobile quarterback really opens things up. It's not like we're making shot plays through the air anyway, but it allows Caleb Johnson to, kind of get his groove going. And it would have helped us Saturday. I'm not saying we would have gone into the shoe in ones, but it might have been a little bit more competitive than it was. Because, I mean, being down 7-0 we had opportunities in that first half, but, I mean, it wasn't a game.
Who are you rooming with tonight?
We've got Lechtenberg, but he went down to the lobby too. He said to get a beer, but there's no way because Staggy's going to be walking in the lobby within the next 5 minutes.
I miss Lechtenberg. We should have him come on.
Lechtenberg did some crazy things on the course today, actually.
Oh yeah, like what?
Probably stories I got to tell you off air.
Oh,
but he didn't have any penalty shots today. He had 31 putts, but carded an 84. So
tough day on the links. Tough day.
It was. Finkbine's a test.
It is a tough course. Meisner, you should go watch him tomorrow.
What time, Nichols?
That's actually a great question. I'll let you know if you don't have anything going on.
All right.
Or are you teaching tomorrow?
Well, I'll figure that out later. I just want to say real quick, I think that Cade McNamara is the least of the Hawkeyes' problems. I think Kirk Ferentz needs to step down. I think Kirk Ferentz needed to step down probably about 10 years ago. So the guy's allergic to change. He's resistant to any kind of modern offense. He still reverts back to an offense that was built in the 70s and probably stopped working around 2004, to be honest with ourselves. And I don't like his attitude. I don't like his smugness. I think that he's got a cushy lifetime job. I mean, he's under contract for a fucking damn near another decade. He knows it. He does enough to get us a 7-9 wins, keep the boosters happy. He really doesn't give a fuck. He's shown that. He doesn't want to change his offense. He doesn't want to change his quarterback. He doesn't give a fuck. He's playing games not to lose. Not playing to win. He's playing to lose. What the fuck are we? We're Iowa. We used to fucking hang with teams. We used to fucking come out there and kick teams in the ass every once in a while. Did he forget that fucking Ohio State game? Did he forget the upset when we had against Penn State in 2009? We used to fucking hang with teams like that. We had a reputation that we hung with tough teams. Now we have a reputation about trying to get a couple first downs and punting the ball and hoping we can't stay in it. What the fuck happened to his fire?
I couldn't be happier right now with the Hawkeyes sitting at 3-2 and us sitting at 5-0. Even though it's not going to last, this little thing the Cyclones are going on.
I do want to hear your take on this whole whiteout thing. I think the whiteout's a cool idea, even though it's not remotely part of your color scheme. I don't. I'm not a fan of wearing white at home. I think that is really dumb. The script on the helmets was cool.
Let me stop you there.
Let me
Sheets. I'm not going to let a Hawkeye fan lecture me on uniforms. You guys you're like the Jets. You've had the same uniforms for how many years now?
Yeah, we have classic.
Classic.
I think
exactly
Iowa
what
State's
Kirk
white and
Ferentz
black
is. That's
uniforms
what
are very cool uniforms. They're just not their colors. They're cool.
I mean, we have white. We've always had white uniforms. I don't know.
Okay, with red and gold on it. Like
Either
you
way.
got to wear white on the road. I get we're black and gold. We wear white with black and gold on the road.
See, this is how we know we've got you. We got you arguing about uniforms. You're sitting there with hanging the.
I don't have to argue about the program. Yeah, you guys upset us. That happens. You guys get the trophy. That's how it works.
Okay.
Are we a better all-time program? 100%. Are we a better institution academically? 100%.
Okay. I mean, let's get into we got 3 minutes on this. Let's get into your team, the Chiefs. They're playing the Saints tonight at home. Have you watched the Chiefs this year? They're undefeated.
I have watched. I am a little nervous with some of the injuries. Semi-good news on the Rashee Rice thing so far today. ACL isn't torn, but I mean, obviously there's still damage in his knee. Really don't know necessarily what the whole timetable looks like according to what they were saying about 15 minutes ago on the TV. But they've learned to win without weapons. We saw that last year. So I am optimistic in elite defense, but it's still the National Football League. You're not going to win every game without weapons. You can go on runs when you play well and you got a great coach and the best player in the NFL. But I don't hate the bettors that are sprinkling New Orleans money line tonight. In fact, I probably would as well. I mean, the Chiefs, more than capable of covering. What it close at 5.5. So
yeah,
more than capable of covering. But I don't hate the take that the Saints walk into Kansas City and get a win tonight. It's really hard to be 5-0 in the National Football League if you don't have weapons.
Well, if people haven't figured it out yet, Nichols is a collegiate golfer at Stanford, so he cannot legally sports gamble or give out picks. But I thought I can give my picks. You can say what you think. Might as well give his picks. Say what you think on that, being a Chiefs fan.
Okay.
So we come up with 2 picks. Last week was not a good week for the Lamb on the Line podcast. I went 1-3. Meisner went 2-2, and our guest went 1-3 as well. We're still sitting at 500 on the year, so we got to get back ahead. I have, for my first bet, Patrick Mahomes over 1.5 passing touchdowns. It's plus money right now. You're going to give me one of the best quarterback in the game at plus money with 2+ passing touchdowns. I'm going to take that every night. And then my other one was Noah Gray over 20.5 receiving yards. I don't know why I've always bet his overs. I like him. He just needs to catch 1 or 2 to get there.
Okay.
I'm going to go with my picks.
Yeah.
Nichols already kind of talked about it. I think the smart money tonight would be on the Saints plus 5.5. I don't know if I would go as far as say his money line, but I do like 5.5. I mean, worst case scenario is they come in there and battle. A lot of these Chiefs games have been going down to one possession, kind of down to the last couple of drives. I wouldn't be surprised if Derek Carr and Alvin Kamara put up enough points to keep the Chiefs tested and say at the worst they lose a 4-point game. 5.5 is a lot. Teams that are 5 points or higher as dogs this year are 19-4 and 1 against the spread. So I like those odds. The Saints as road dogs have covered 7 of their last 8 as road dogs. So I like them tonight plus 5.5. And then I got a nice little prop that I like. I don't think this is too hard to attain. I got Juju Smith-Schuster over 14 receiving yards, over 14.5 receiving yards. It just takes one big run, or maybe he gets the ball, a couple chunkers, 3 or 4 catches, and he gets over that number. I think that's a low number. Now you get a couple injuries in the receiving core. I think maybe we haven't seen the last of Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah, I like all 4 of those picks you guys mentioned. I really like the data you bring up on the Saints against the spread as road dogs and plus 5.5 this year. Would you say 19-4 and 1? I like those a lot. when it comes to the Juju line, I do really like that, especially, I mean, without Rashee Rice, no Hollywood Brown, obviously no checkdowns to Isaiah Pacheco at the moment. I think 14.5. I mean, it should hit. It takes one play. And yeah, I do think Mahomes can throw for a couple touchdowns tonight, but we could see a game that's like a 17-13 game. Classic Vegas line. But I don't hate any of those picks.
All right. Well, we're both 6-6 on the year, so we could use some good luck going into this week. But it sounds like you're going. Where are you guys going to dinner? B-Dubs?
I would assume so, but I don't know.
Gotcha.
So we'll see. Steggy will probably get his patent lemon pepper wings. I'll make some joke about him wanting to be Rick Ross. He'll get upset, and everyone will laugh.
I do miss those dinners. Make sure you give him shit about his B-Dubs points, too. He always puts his reward number on the bottom of that receipt. Make sure he gets his points.
Hey, can't blame him.
No, I don't blame him.
Ask
Especially
him if
those
you might
Concheros
get my
points.
points this week.
What'd you say, Mize?
Tell Steggy, ask him if you can use your reward points this week.
Yeah. Ask him to use yours.
I will. I'll ask him.
Well, thanks for coming on, Nichols.
Of course, fellas. I'll have to come on when I can be more in touch.
For sure. We'll get you back on.
All right. Cheers.
See you, Nichols. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Thanks for coming on. That's Josh Nichols, Athlon Sports Insider, Kansas City Chiefs fanatic, joining us. Always good to hear his takes. I'm glad we got a little bit of college talk as well. Those are our picks, though, for the Monday night game. We don't have to rush off like we did the last couple of weeks because of the doubleheader. But we are coming up at the over-hour mark, so we're going to sign off here. Thanks to everyone who joined tonight. Go enjoy that Monday night game. It's going to be a good one. Chiefs and Saints and Derek Carr and company.